Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be showing off the new Kuriboh support. Finally got around to showing you guys kind of what the deck can do. If you're excited about the new Kuriboh support, drop a like on this video, because it's actually kind of cool that we're getting support for something that's a very iconic card that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players that are like old school Yu-Gi-Oh players, they still try to go ahead and make some use out of it. But realistically, is it good, to play the old school Kuriboh and like Wing Kuriboh? Not so much. But with the newer support, it's actually so much better. Now, this other guy's playing some of the newer Utopia stuff, mixing in with C65 King Overfiend is actually pretty nasty. This makes so effect monsters your opponent controls cannot activate their effects, but still keep in mind that's them controlling it, so you can still activate cards in other areas besides the board. Nonetheless, yeah, the new Utopia stuff is pretty cool too, which we actually already covered. But today we're all talking about Kuriboh, and it's actually going to deal with Red Eye's Dark Dragoon, which is a very powerful Yu-Gi-Oh card as well. But first off, what does the new Kuriboh support do? It just basically gets out a bunch of Kuribohs, which is kind of like what you would do in the anime, if anyone like remember where that one time where you had like infinite Kuribohs with, I think it was multiply, which anime effect a little bit different than the real effect. But nonetheless, this card needs to go away ASAP if we're going to be trying to activate some effects. But remember, that's activated effects, not stopping some other potential effects in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I mentioned before, which you guys will see here very soon. But even with no effects being able to be used, my homie Zeke is still keeping it strong with his build of Kuribohs. This will also give you guys a deck profile in case you guys want to try it out. It's honestly, at the end of the day, it's more of a fun deck than anything. If you want to use the newer Kuriboh, like the Boss Kuriboh card, you actually have to require more monsters in your graveyard than your opponent. So you have to cycle through cards. So cards like Marsh Macaron really help out. And I know that like floaters, not so hot in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, just because, everything negates everything for the most part, right? That's how we play Yu-Gi-Oh! For the competitive scene. But with Kuribohs, you're able to dump out lots of monsters with some of their effects. You can also search out another card to grant yourself extra monsters. But what you're really going to use them for is actually link summoning, or if you want to exceed summon, the number 31 and number 13 embodiment cards. This is a really good combo. This makes it, super easy to pull off in this deck, because you can just spam level 1 monster, because that's what Kuribohs do. Now, this guy, unfortunately, I don't think reading was in part of his learning course, because he kept on damaging himself. And he was maybe thinking that, like, if he just kept on attacking, somehow King Overfiend's effect would work. But this is going to be a continuous effect where your opponent just takes all the damage, not actually activating, so he's going to lose out on that. But yeah, he went for the combo of number 13 and 31. Now, I do want to show you guys like the Boss Kuriboh really quick over here and get this out of the way really quick. I'm just going to do it versus no one here because it's really rare to pull this off. But what I want to show you guys is the Boss Kuriboh. What it does do is, yes, you can get the Boss Kuriboh to absurd amounts of attack. So it gains 300 attack and effect for each Kuriboh monster you control and in your graveyard. You can actually defense OTK someone, you set this card, they attack into it, and it can have like 12,000 defense and your opponent just loses. Like, it's dumb, and is it realistic to pull it off? I don't know. But with cards like Magical Merchant to go ahead and flip up, and if you just run like Monster Reborn and like 1 or 2 other spells, yes, you can Magical Merchant and dump your, like, basically your entire deck into the graveyard, then get your Babylon, and this is the boss monster. So yeah, it gets an insane amount of attack. And then if you have more monsters in your graveyard than your opponent does, you can special summon it. But then during your main or battle phase, as a quick effect, you can return this card to the hand and then bounce it back and then special summon all Kuriboh, Kuribi, Kuribu, and Kuribe, and 1 Kuriboh from your hand or graveyard. You have to actually get them all out. This is actually important, because if Merchant is here, what you will have to do, like you can see, like this is just against no AI opponent here, just to show you guys. Yeah, you can get this thing up to absurd amounts of attack. But if you use the Merchant or whatever card that you still have on the board, because you have to bring out all of them, that is actually the important part here that I want to show. You can still attack, and in battle phase, bring out all of those other Kuriboh cards and still actually attack. So here's like the full lineup. We got all of them here. So most of them are kind of like meh. This one lets you add a spell or trap when a Kuriboh monster is destroyed by battle. You can add a spell or trap that specifically lets Kuriboh. This one makes it so as a quick effect, you can discard it and a Kuriboh monster gains 1500. So it's like kind of honest, if you will. And then we've got Kuriboh over here. You can discard this card when they declare an attack to add a Kuriboh monster. And then Kuriboh is making it so when this card or a Kuriboh monster destroy a battle, you can spell summon another monster. So they kind of have like a floater or like kind of a plus effect, and then the old school Kuriboh, it's just like you don't take the battle damage. But you can still push out another 1,500 points of damage even after your Curry Babylon bounces back, and then you can attack with all of the monsters. It's what I would consider mediocre. Your plays are probably better if you make it a link deck, but there's just much better options for link decks. There's no real restrictions with this. I mean, you can make whatever you want, and then I could just main phase 2, go for my actual normal summon tribute, go for Curry Babylon again, and then you have this setup. This is what I think is kind of cool that you can do with the deck, but I want to show you guys more like actual gameplay over here. Here we have it up against the Despias, so it's kind of a newer archetype as well. But I think the new Kuriboh stuff, it's just made for, again, more so the fans to at least have something. But again, it's outclassed. And the reason why is because back in the Yu-Gi-Oh days, we ran cards like Giant Rat. Some people ran that instead of Emerald's Blade at one point in X-Sabers because, you know, Emerald's Blade was like $100, all right? So, for the most part, the floaters in Yu-Gi-Oh have gone away, and when your whole archetype is based off of setting cards to try to get more cards in the graveyard, then going for your combo, it's just too slow. Even with a Magical Merchant, like if you run Magical Merchant like the Book of Tayu, Book of Moon like combos, yeah, sure, maybe one in like 100 times you might be able to get really lucky, pull off a combo where you're summoning a monster with an absurd amount of attack and you one-shot your opponent. But if you really want to do that, and I mentioned this before in my like YouTube community post, I was like, is this new Kuriboh stuff actually good? Because I thought it was pretty bad. I haven't seen like many people actually win with it. I was actually doing some spectating duels to see how people were running this deck, and it's basically just a link deck that's just a lot slower. There's much better options for decks at that point to making it like a link-based deck, but that's kind of what would make it essentially better. But I like this idea of going for number 13 and 31. That way you have cool cards that like don't normally get to see play that kind of have a lockdown, so to speak. But most of the cards have been just outclassed because, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten faster. Like this card is just absurd. A lot of people still want this card actually banned, but like for very good reasons. Like this card comes out and some decks they just lose, right? But how's Kuriboh going to be dealing with? Well, the extra deck definitely helps out with cards like F-Zero, the Utopic Future Dragon being able to not be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and then you can just ram into that, and then therefore we're a-okay. We can go and run over it. He's going to activate that effect. We're going to go say nope, and that is my card now, and the guy's going to go ahead and set the Ice Dragon's Prison. Really fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh card as well. Then we got the Kuriboh coming out with the Trisbania to go ahead and potentially stop some other cards from coming out and coming back over here, as this guy might need the extra deck. If we can get this card over here, it's good. So he's going to activate a lure. He hearted the cards and actually draws a dark off of that. What a lucky guy. Get sacked, man. But he's going to go ahead and go into Jester and start going for some effects. But this card is like a Snatch Steel Machine on legs, and he's going to take that card, and we're going to go make the Amara, the Star Leader Dragon, but he's going to say no to the Trisbania. He wanted that effective. It doesn't really matter. It's like disrespect at this point. The guy top decks the theater, and he can't really make any too much plays with that. But this one was actually pretty funny. I want to show off this one. This is, I know Super Heavy Sam is not like the most meta, but this is like a better matchup. Keep in mind, sometimes with Yu-Gi-Oh decks that like recently come out, they just have no chance against like Dragon Link or anything that would be considered meta. Like if you're playing Kuriboh against Dinos, they laugh in your face about, I'm just sending these all to the graveyard and you're gonna take 1,000 every single time, and every time you bring out another monster as a floater, I'm doing more damage. Like it's just outclassed. Even if this like whole archetype came out like months ago, I still think that it would fall short of becoming good. But you know, not every deck needs to be good. Just like Super Heavy Samurais, they're okay as a fun deck, right? Just like Kuribohs, and this is where the deck can kind of have a chance. Like I said before, Magical Merchant, amazing card. If you can sack your opponent and get like 20-30 cards into the grave with Kuriboh, because remember, it's all the Kuriboh monsters. It doesn't have to be with different names, even though you kind of need to play all the different names to get the full effect, because you have to special summon every single one. Otherwise, you don't get that effect in its hand or graveyard. So, yeah, it can be a little difficult. So he's going to go Kuriboh, stop that card. Because remember, the Super Heavy Samurais, they can attack while in defense position. Back in the day, we had a card called Total Defense Shogun that was like the old school version of Super Heavy Samurai. But nonetheless, we're going to see the F-Zero going to Snatch Steal, taking that card over there, and he's going to beat him down with his own card. And I just thought that was extra disrespect, because this card lets him attack second time during the battle phase. So he just like, he just OTK'd his opponent with his own card, which I thought was just too cool. But anyways, let's go and hop into the deck profiles in case any of you guys want to like try this out. Like I said, it's more of a fun deck. A lot of these are just Kuriboh names to give up the hype plays, which is really, really difficult to pull off. But big shots to my homie Zeke for sitting in some of the replays for the ones that you guys saw. I'm just gonna mouse over these really quick. Basically, like Curry Babylon, yes, it's good, but like it can be kind of difficult because you need every single one of them. Essentially, you can kind of search out some of the cards in the archetype. This one lets you take a Kuriboh or Wing Kuriboh and then like add it to your hand or special it. This is another newer card that I did want to mention really quick because I went over the other newer Kuribohs, but this card over here is another support. But if the only monster controls level 5 monster, which can, this card counts, I guess Wing Kuriboh level 10 can count too. You get to bring out, you get to tribute that monster and then special summon all 5 of those, but they cannot be tributed for a tribute summon, which is like, it's okay. But the reason why it can be good is this lets you get it from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So if you do happen to have that special summon monster that lingers up on the board, or if you just happen to have a monster you can go for, you can just instantly get the requirements for it. So that just, again, it's the same concept as just going for this. You get out all your cards and then just pretty much go into, like, this is a pretty good card, you know, obviously you go right into this one's OCG, but for the most part you can also go into Relinquish Anima, which is pretty nice, letting you just target something and snatch stealing it, which is nice as well. But we're just basically playing a bunch of the Kuribohs. If you guys have suggestions, so let me know in the comment section below for like other things that you play. As again, this is more of a fun deck than anything. There's a lot of like triples of Kuribohs. It's because we want that massive potential with Merchant, which I showed you guys in the AI duel. But anyways, we got Ring Kuriboh level 10, then we got Curry Babylon. You could opt to play more of these, and you can play something that you can special, and then you can just have your consistency of getting all 5. That probably would be a more meta way, and then you can just play like a bunch of Link monsters. But next up we got Aroma Jar over here, then Anki Kuriboh, Sphere Kuriboh, Kurivolt, 3 copies of Ring Kuriboh, Perform on Kuriboh, and then we got Kuriborn, Kuriba, Kuribi, Kuribu, Kuribe. So like 3 copies of basically everything. Magical Merchant, we've even got Marshmack, Karoon, because hey, it works, it's a level 1. I was even thinking 1-for-1 could be a good option for this deck. The Rainbow Kuriboh, Piper to bring back another card. Just like a 1-card Xyz summon play. We have Instant Fusion, and then we have Reborn, 3 copies of Star Twilight, then the Flu Summoning Kuriboh, because it's like one of the only searchable cards. It's actually like viable, I would say, because remember, is it this one? One of these, yeah. These Kuriboh is the one that has a searcher, but again, most of these things are just like too slow, it's too old. But Transcendent Wings is technically possible. You gotta send it face up or face down Wing Kuriboh and 2 other cards from your hand to the graveyard to special summon a Wing Kuriboh level 10. Now, this card over here, during your opponent's battle phase, as a quick effect, you can tribute it, destroy as many attackers and monsters your opponent controls as possible, then you get to inflict damage. Is it realistic to pull this off? No. Realistically, because what happens is it has to be during the battle phase. It's just another card that counts as Kuriboh, so it's, again, Magical Merchant memes boost them up. But, yeah, it could be tactically a win condition. Unfortunately, it's only during your opponent's battle phase. If it was with yours, too, then you can bring it out, and then you can go surprise, maybe. But you can also surprise them, you know, this card is technically a quick play, but it's just, it's too difficult. But we got Thousand Eyes, F-Zero, the Prince Sprite, and then we got the number 13 and 31, Slacker Magician 54, which we actually did see, and then we got the Futro over here, F-Zero, Future, Utopic Future, then Link Kuriboh, and Anima. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing our little guy Kuriboh take on some decks that I didn't even expect to be able to do with Dragoons, and dealt with no monster effects. I don't know, that was really cool. But if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh stuff in the future, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll definitely see more very soon. Big shouts once again to my homie Zeke, hooking me up with the replays, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.